You're right, YouTube. It's Big Mike without further ado retro, and we've hit our 1 year anniversary. Without further ado retro has been going for 1 year. Just like to thank all the subscribers, all the people that watch me videos. Basically, yeah, we've hit over 100 subscribers in the first year. We're now at actually 110 subs. And upwards, hopefully. I'd like to hit 150 or 200. That'd be great. That's sort of the next sort of milestone that I'm looking towards doing. And this is a little video about how it started and what I think about doing a YouTube video and the YouTube community and everything. Right, yeah, so I basically watched 2E, Daz, Retro Dave Nintendo, Alex, Cybersnake J, you know, all the lads, you know, Rich King Retro, Rich Turner, you know, loads of channels. I watch far too much YouTube, to be honest, but I don't really watch normal TV because I think it's full of so much depression and bad news. There's never anything, you know, nice happening. So, you know, and I'm a retro gamer. I enjoy retro collecting and retro gaming, and being part of the sort of UK YouTubers community. Yeah, and it's really, really good. And I suppose I've started collecting again since moving to this area, which I've been here now for about 6 years, I think. So started getting into the collecting quite heavily. I've built out the collection in the last 6 years, which I've managed to do really, really well with it. You know, start out with the booters and things, and then got onto eBay, and you know, so gone from there really. But yeah, so first few years, I was going to the retro events and I was trying to meet the infamous Tootie UK, the Optimus of the YouTube community in my eyes. What he does for the YouTube retro community is absolutely fantastic. He really is the glue that sort of binds us all together and pulls us all in. Like, you know, he's a really good guy. He takes the time out to spend time with absolutely everyone. You know, for whether you've got a channel, whether you haven't got a channel, you know, whether you've got one sub or a million subs, he'll try and spend time with each and every one of you. And what a guy! He really is a sort of a real top guy, but really down to earth as well. You know, normal bloke, like, you know. And so for about 2-3 years, I was going to these events trying to track down the infamous Tootie UK. And I think the first actual YouTuber I actually ever met was Rich King Retro, and I think it was in the first ever Blackpool I went to, and Rich, what a lovely guy. What you see on camera is what you get in real life. He's just no malice about him at all or anything like that. He's a real genuine nice guy. You know, he spend the time and he chat to you and everything. And yeah, he's really cool. So I sort of spoke to him, and then what he was buying, what he was looking at, how the things have changed. You know, with doing the booting and things. And he was really cool. So I think that year I missed Tootie. He eluded me. He eluded me again, and then I went to, I'm not sure, there's probably several events. I've probably been to about 10 or 11 events, I think, in total now. But I think I was chasing Tootie around for about 3 or 4 events until I actually met him. So there's probably other events in between this. But then I think I went to Revival, the winter warm-up, and I'm pretty sure I didn't know Tootie at this point. And that was the event where I actually broke my toe. It was the day before my birthday, and I actually broke my big toe, slipped on some gravel, smashed my big toe into a wall. My big toe bent all the way back and touched my foot, and I broke it in 4 places. But hey, you know, I'm a big guy, but that's not going to stop me from retro game hunting. So we went up. I was like, oh, I'm twisted my foot or something. You know, I was like, oh, it's hurting, but just neck a couple of painkillers and we'll go and get some retro games. So me and my mate Marcus drove up, like, you know, we were sort of doing all the shops because I think we went up there the day before, so we stayed in a hotel, and we do all the retro shops locally and all that. So gone to this retro shop, I can't remember which one it was, but there was a computer shop and a retro shop, and they actually owned both. But the retro shop was shut, so we asked in the computer shop, and it turned out that they owned the retro shop, so they came down and turned the electric on and let us look through. And I was sort of going along the walls on my arms because my foot was hurting so much. And So I said to Marcus, I said, look, Marcus, I've done something serious here. You're gonna have to take me to the hospital and have a look. So then it was like hours and hours in A&E, about 4 hours, and then eventually, yeah, X-rayed, broken, nothing we can do. Put a blooming lollipop stick on it and some bandages, and away you go, sort of thing. So then we went to Revival Winter Warm Up, and the elusive Tootie UK eluded me again. So, but I had a great event, but I was very, very conscious because it was a very packed in event. It was a great event. Even though I broke my toe, I had a fantastic time. But I'd say about 50% of it was worrying about whether anyone was going to knock into me bad toe. But, you know, if you have a great time and you break your toe in 4 places, you're not doing too bad. So that was that one. I think then was another Blackpool. And this one I actually met Tootie. And so it was I think it's they'd all been out on a Friday night. I run into Rich King Retro again, started chatting to Rich, and I said, "Is Tootie UK about? Is he here yet?" Like, you know, and he said, "Yeah, he's there." And he's like a stealth assassin. He had his bag on, and he just over his shoulder, and he was just going to where he was going. You wouldn't have known it was him. And and I said, "Oh, Stu, Tootie UK," and he came over, and I think they'd been out drinking the night before, and I said, "Do you want a beer?" And he said, "Oh no, I've been drinking, you know, been drinking all last night, a bit heavy and that." I said, "Look, it'd be rude not to." And then that was it. And he was like, "Oh, go on then." And got Stu a beer, he got Rich a beer, and then sort of met some of the community then. And then when I come down later on, I sort of sat, you know, because I wasn't sure, you know, everyone knows each other, and I didn't sort of really know anyone. I sat a table away. And my mate sort of just left me. Marcus just left me. It's like, "You git." So he's just left. And he's laughing because I'm sat on my own. And everyone said, "Oh, come on over. What are you sat over there for? Come on over and join in." And that was it then. Everyone sort of accepted me, you know, explained who I was and what I was about. And everyone's like, "Oh, you know, you got a bit of knowledge about the games and that. You know a bit of what you're on about. Why don't you do your own channel?" And then it used to talk about me and say like, that's "Oh, this is Mike. He likes to watch." And it sounded a little bit seedy, like, you know what I mean. So I was like, so I thought, and everyone was saying you got to start your own channel and that, and I thought, why not? I really enjoy gaming. I've been gaming probably best part of at least 30 years. I'm 38 years old. So you know, I've started out with a TV plug-in, the old Binatone from the old car boot cell. That was my first ever machine, and then I used to pester my friends' mum and dads because they used to have a Spectrum. First of all, I used to go to Lambert's house. They used to live the next street up from me. They had a grey Spectrum +2. So I used to go up there and play that. We used to play like Oh Mummy and the original Dixon's pack, was it, or the Curry's pack? I think it's the Dixon's pack. It's 7 games. I've got them all now. You know, there was Destroyer or something. It was like a Space Invaders rip-off. They're all rip-offs of other games, really. But yeah, that was it. I was sort of hooked on gaming then. And then you used to go up my friends up the road from the Lamberts. Used to go up to my friend Rob and Dave. Dave was in my year, and like I say, Rob was the older brother, and he used to get all the latest games Rob did. So we'd start off in Dave's room, and then we'd sneak into Rob's room and see all the latest stuff. And I used to pester Rob, "Oh, can you do us a," you know, before I had my when I had my Spectrum, we sort of used to go and see. But later on, as I got the Amiga, then he says, "Oh, Rob, can you do us a copy of this? Can you do us a copy of that?" And you know, after sometimes I got there, and he had me a pile of discs, or like, you know, another 10 or 20 games to go and play. And whoa, you know, it's really, really cool. So, and then eventually, I got my own Spectrum, which was a +2A from Toys R Us. Yeah. So my first ever computer comes from Toys R Us, which is shame that we lost them, really, because they were really cool as well. They used to do the best offers. If you looked at like the consoles, you'd get like 2 or 3 games with it from somewhere else. But Toys R Us used to have 5 or 6 games for the same price. They really did fantastic deals. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So we got a +2 and +2A, and Rob said, "Oh, the tape recorder's not very good on these." He said, "But you can adjust the volume of the tape there's a hole, and you can put a screwdriver in, twist, and adjust the volume to try and get the games to load." You know, Well, all that is really, I don't know how well it works, but it's just two wires. But if you get a bit over enthusiastic with the old twisted near screwdriver, then you snap these wires off and the tape doesn't play anymore, basically. So basically, I think about 5 of them broke on their own because the build quality. I think by the time you got to the plus 2A, it was Amstrad had taken over the helm, so the build quality wasn't very good on the Spectrums. I will say that, and so about 7 plus. I think 5 of them broke on their own accord, and probably 2 of them I broke. And at that point, me mum and dad were like, "We've had enough of this. We'll get him we'll pay the extra money. We'll get him the plus 3. At least that way, he can't mess about with the tape drive. He can put his own tape drive and adjust the volume with that. And he's got the disc drive, So if he breaks the tape drive, we just put a new tape drive on. So that was brilliant. That was a win-win situation all round, really. So so got that, and then probably 6 months, maybe a year later, I got the Multi-Face 3, as I've shown in videos, where you could load games up and save them to disk. Right, and from there on, really, I had the Spectrum, and then I remember the Turtles pack, and for the NES, they used to have the adverts on TV, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Hero Turtles. Now with the Nintendo NES, and I really wanted it. And I used to meet up with a friend. At the time, we weren't friends, but we used to meet up because we both wanted an S in junior school. Ben, my friend Ben Kerry. And we used to meet up, and we didn't know each other, but they were, I want to get the Turtles pack, I want Mario Brothers, and, because everyone else was interested in, I'm not sure if by that point the Mega Drive was out, but they're all sort of, Sega, really, rather than Nintendo in the UK. Because Nintendo was a niche in the UK, no matter what these sort of people think from these American things, and now Nintendo seems to have been big in England. They really weren't. And me and Ben were sort of outcasts. We wanted this machine, and it was only we found each other through a want of the same machine. And my mum and dad sort of pulled me to one side and said, we've had a bit of a hard time this year. We're not too flush, like, and we know you want a Nintendo 8-bit NES, like, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to get it for you this year. But if you're good and you do well at school, and you understand that we can't get you this year, then next year we'll get you the Amiga that you want. Your friend Robert's got, and you want the Amiga. We'll get you one of those because it's going to take us some time to save up and get you that. But if you're willing to wait a year and you're good, you can get an Amiga. I mean, they were, at the time, I believe they were about £500, which is ridiculous money, especially back then. That's a lot more money. It's probably like £1,000 in today's money, maybe more on I don't know, but it was a lot of money, My parents weren't really well off at all. We were living in an area, in my opinion, that was beyond our means, but it had a good education. Not that it did me any well, but they lived in that area. They moved to that area for me to get a good education and a better standard of life, really. So my parents sort of really did sacrifice everything for me to have a nice upbringing, which, in all fairness, I did. I had a really nice childhood, but a lot of the people around us had more money than what we had. So my parents had to work hard, and it's only sort of looking back you can really appreciate what they did do. They moved pillar and post to get me everything that I wanted, or everything that other people had and stuff. And at the time, you don't sort of really understand and appreciate. But my parents done a really good job. And there was sometimes I couldn't have things. A lot of times I couldn't have things, But if I really wanted something and I was good and worked hard and tried at school and that, my parents would do their best. So it worked out pretty cool, to be honest, because I didn't get me NES. I waited a year and then I got my Amiga 500. So I was blown away. Yes, like I got me 500. I had the Cartoons Classics pack, and that was absolutely brilliant. What a pack! Well, I see what pack it was. I used to spend a lot of time on Deluxe Paint 3 doing animations and drawings and things. I used to love that. And Lemmings was the best part about that. Lemmings is a fantastic game. It actually came on one disc on that one. Normal Lemmings is on 2 discs, but they managed to compact it down. Don't know if it had the intro on the thingy pack, so I might be wrong on that. But yeah, so I had the Cartoons Classics pack, so that was absolutely fantastic. The other games it came with, which weren't so great, but was still blown away. I remember the first game I put into it, and it was Bart versus the Space Mutants. Now, not a very good game, if I'm honest, not very good, but blown away by that intro as a kid. Putting that in, it was The Simpsons. It was like, wow, look, it's The Simpsons. It's like a cartoon on my screen, and I'm about to play a cartoon. You know, probably the intro was probably only like 30 seconds long or something, but those 30 seconds blew me away. So the other game was Captain Planet, which wasn't very good, but you know, it didn't really matter. They were games, and like I said, I could copy them off my friend Rob, get some nice backups, and you know, the Shadow of the Beast and things like that. I remember one of the first games Rob showed me on, and he goes, "I want to get Shadow of the Beast." And this kiddie called Neil, who used to live the next other street, the other side. I can't remember his surname, but Neil used to get all the sort of stuff, and then Rob used to get the stuff from Neil. And then, you know, because Neil had this machine first. I think Neil might have been a bit older than Rob, so yeah, it was that was the sort of hierarchy of the sort of getting the games and the Amigas and all that. And then a year later, so I had to wait, like I say, a year to get my Amiga. I wanted the NES. Then I ended up with Amiga a year later, and a year after that, I ended up with a Super Nintendo. So all in all, I did well. I missed out on the NES, but in hindsight, I quite happily missed the NES to get the Amiga and then the Super Nintendo. Yeah, really, what a machine the Super Nintendo was. My first ever time seeing a Super Nintendo was with my friend Ben. We had we formed a friendship over the NES, even though I think Ben may have got one. I'm not sure, but even though I didn't get the NES, me and Ben became very good friends. And then Ben sort of rang me up because he had older brothers, and he's like, "You got to come down my house. You got to come down my house." And I don't think I'd even been to Ben's house before. I'm not sure. I may have been, but he's like, "You got to come to my house. You got to come to my house." I was like, "What's going on?" Like, he's like, "My brother's got a Super Nintendo and he's lent it to me, and I've got Super Mario World and Turtles in Time." What an introduction to the Super Nintendo! Two of the best games you could possibly see, and possibly two of the best games on the system in full. Like you know, Turtles in Time. I remember back then. I remember it being really easy, but I don't find it so easy now. I'm not sure it's because I'm playing one player rather than two players. But we used to just sail through it. But it was a great game. It's about right. It was maybe a little bit easy, but you know, you could get through it. Now I find it a lot harder nowadays. I don't know if it's because I've slowed up with the old reactions or whatever. But and Super Mario World, what a game! Possibly, I don't give games I don't give games 10 out of 10. I always think there's room for improvement. But that game is nearly perfect. I would say that's a good. It was. I was thinking about doing a thing of games which I think are almost, you know, perfect tens. You know, she's a perfect 10 by Beautiful South. So that was the idea of that. So that would definitely be on the perfect tens. So yeah, Super Mario World, what a game! You can complete it by doing. I can't remember how many levels now. It was at 96. It might be a lot less than that. But there's like, is it like 114 levels altogether? So much playability in that game, and so much, you know, keep you coming back to it. You know, I was saying to Old School today actually on the phone. I was saying, you know, all these new games, they've got these great graphics, and you know, they're like almost like movies. But have they got any sort of where you go back to it? Like, you know, they don't pull you back once you've sort of completed the newer games. You just want to get them gone because there's nothing. Like I was saying, I've been coming back to Resident Evil 4. I think it's over 10 years now, maybe longer. Might be like longer than that. I think was it 2004? If so, I've been coming back to it for about 12 or 14 years. Then I didn't have it initially, but my friend's brother used to say about it, and I mean that Resident Evil 4 when it came out, that was really setting the GameCube on fire. That was pushing the machine to its absolute limits. I'd never seen graphics like that back then. It was like, what is this witchcraft? How is that making that little tiny box produce those graphics on that screen? I don't know if people know, but when that Resident Evil 4 was brought out on the PS2, it's a very cut back version. It's the graphically it's cut back. I think there's missing parts and all, like, you know, it's very cut back. It's not noticeable because they've done a real good job of stitching it together. But if you play that alongside the GameCube version, you know, the GameCube version wins hands down. And like I say, the games back in the day, like, I forever play Revenge of Shinobi. I always go back to Revenge of Shinobi. I've gone back to that game since I think when it came out in '89, but I'm not sure if that's in Japan. So we would have got it 90 or 91. So I think I was 10 or 11. I'm 38 now, and I still go back to that game. Golden Axe, the same. I'm not addicted to it anymore. Since I completed it, Dougal and Tavish's, that was it for me. I'd done it. It was settled. But I still go back and play that game. You know, last night I'm sorting things out. Those of you who are a bit more sort of aware, you may notice a different sofa that I've sat on. So we're having a big change around in the, without further ado, studio, or AKA my home. And yeah, so there's just loads of great retro games that you just will always go back to. Like I say, last night I've moved stuff about and I can actually access my my SNES Mini. So I put the SNES Mini on and I banged on a Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I absolutely slaughtered the first character. I was like, yeah, I still got it, like, you know. Then I came up against Ryu on the second part, and it absolutely killed me. I had about 3 or 4 games of trying to kill him, and I thought, nah, I'm tired. I just need to do it when I'm not tired, and I'll smash him. So then I put Castlevania 4 on. I just played that, and I was naturally playing it, doing all the jumps and playing well, and enjoying the tunes. The tunes on Castlevania 4 are some of the best tunes ever, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic music. And so really enjoying that. And like I say, I've got the PS4 Pro there. I haven't switched on. I switched on by accident, I think, the other day. No, I tell a lie. I've got Resident Evil 4 HD on it, and I'm trying to complete it in hard, which is hard, funnily enough. But the main problem I have, and I managed to do it this time, is these stupid button bashing sequences. You know, where you go tap 2 buttons and then do a move to get out of the way. I'm not fast enough. I'm too old. Like, I can't do the speed of the button bash it and then jumping out of the way of it. But I think I managed to get through it this time. But it's a very, very hard game. But as I say, into old school today, the game actually does have an algorithm. And if you do badly, if you do really well, the game becomes harder. So it gives you like more enemies to try and kill. You know, you might have say 4 guys with arrows ready to shoot at you and take you down. Now, if you die a couple of times on that, those 4 guys will suddenly be 2 guys. And it almost like it creates a window that you can get through, so you never fully get stuck, or you shouldn't do. But then, where I can like pretty much nail most of the game in normal mode, when I get to the very last part, which is a speed event, it probably kills me between 15 and 20 times before it allows me that window to complete it, which is ridiculous because the time is the same. I'm still playing the same, but the game is throwing at me as hard as it can be, which I think it's impossible to complete. But once it gives you that window to get through, then you can complete it. So it's a lot of people didn't know about that algorithm, and I think it's really good because it's sort of you know. But you've always got to save it from where you died or wherever, because it remembers how many times you've died. So if you play it once and then you die, and then you replay it, the algorithm will be setbacks. But if you die 4 times and then try it again, the algorithm knows you've died 4 times, so then it'll be easier. So in my opinion, it's a very, very good game, Resident Evil 4. That's definitely in my top 5 as well. Yeah, fantastic game. So yeah, so I've turned the PS4 on and I've played a game that's like 10 or 12 years old. So for me, the Xbox One X Scorpion Edition, I haven't stuck anything on that. I haven't turned it on for months. I don't even know where the pad is. I'm hoping I'm going to find it in a moment. I've got another one, spare one. But I've bought a game to play on that. The only game I've bought to play on that is recently is Red Dead Redemption, because I never finished it on a PS3. I was going through some harder times at the time. I was in a completely different place to where I am now, and I used to play it on TV. And my TV used to have 2 burn marks down the centre of the screen, so you could never see the centre of the screen because it was basically dead. And one thing you need on Red Dead Redemption is the centre of the screen, because it's generally you're aiming where you're going to aim your crossfire. So I managed to play that to about halfway through, and then there was a part where I needed the centre of the screen, and my screen was broken. So yeah, so my point was basically, yeah, because of the TV being cream crackered or knackered, I never got the opportunity to finish Red Dead Redemption. So, and also with the new Red Dead coming out, Red Dead Redemption 2, I thought I'd go back and play it on my Xbox One X, because they've just got a 4K update, although I don't have a 4K television. I believe PlayStation 4 does, where it upscales to 4K but then downscales it to fit your TV. So I'm hoping the Xbox does the same sort of thing, so it'd be the best sort of 1080 image that I can get out of the machine. Even that is a game I think it's 7 or 8 years old. It might be older than that, like, you know. So yeah, the point is there's not very many great new games, like, you know. There's a handful, you know. The Uncharted series are fantastic. I love each and every one of those. The Last of Us, I thought was a bit hit and miss. They reckon if you take away the story from The Last of Us, the actual gameplay is very sort of average, but it's the storytelling. Naughty Dog do really good storytelling. So, but yeah, I got stuck on The Last of Us, so I need to go back to that and give it another go. So we won't pass judgment. And also, Last of Us 2's coming out as well. So anything with Naughty Dog is generally, you know, it's at least a 7 upwards. But, you know, when it's got Uncharted in the title, you're looking at a 9 to 10 game, basically. They're fantastic. See, Uncharted 2, possibly my number 1 game of all time. It's definitely in the top 3, but it might be a contender for the top slot. Like I say, when I was playing that when it was current, and the part with that, you're running along, you're in a level, and all of a sudden there's like a chopper outside, and it cuts the building in half, and all of a sudden you were running around, and all of a sudden the whole building's tipped forward, and you're sliding out the building. That had never happened in gaming before. You're like, going on, I'm in a blooming movie here. Like, you actually felt like you were in Indiana Jones. Like, it really made you feel like, you know, you were on a proper, you know, in a film, and you felt like a hero in a film. And it was like, that took gaming to a whole new level and a whole new place it had never been to. Like I say, the games that break boundaries and change gaming, that was another thing I was going to do, was a series called Game Changers, you know, games that changed gaming. You know, there's like I say, we've got a lot of ideas, and as the old school's going to show me some editing software and how to do a few things and all that. So those who have stuck it out through the rough times of me channel, you know, the bare basics of just me and a mobile phone and a simple editing program, we should be getting better, honestly. We're going to try a bit harder. We got the equipment to do it. We just need the know-how. We lack the knowledge of how to do it. You know, I said I'm okay on Deluxe Paint 3, but anything beyond that is it's a little beyond me. But old school assures me that a lot of these programs aren't too much more taxing than Deluxe Paint 3. It's just knowing how to use them a little bit. So when he comes down for the Bristol event, we're gonna have a good crowd. We're gonna have such a laugh, and hopefully Mark's gonna come as well. Like I say, Mark's welcome here as well. without further ado, studio, aka my house. But yeah, so hopefully we're gonna have another great one. Marcus is coming, you know, a load of lads are coming, and yeah. So like I say, hopefully Mr. Bads, you'll make it this time, mate. It'd be really cool to see you. You'll be welcome around mine as well. That's what I'm doing at the moment. Is I'm getting it to some sort of a livable state, you know, where I can have guests and they would be going, "Oh, look at his house, it's terrible," you know. Whereas you can have guests and have people round and things. So, you know, yeah, that'd be really cool if Mr. Baz can make it. Dave, I really, really wish you could make it, Dave. I know Dave's saying that he's working, but I thought that's what holidays and sickies are for, Dave. You know, Lawn Boy 1975. It's a Bristol event. We're Bristolians, you know. Come on, like, how often do we get a Bristol event? We don't, like, you know. So come on, Dave. Surely you've got some holiday leave in there somewhere, or a sickie, you know. But if you can't make it, I understand, mate. I know you said you're up for meeting me, and we're going to do a bit of retro gaming hunting, and you probably can't tell from me being in this chair, I'm not that mobile out and about. So, you know, I can get about slowly. But I'm certainly up for meeting you, and we'll have a look about a little bit, I think, and all that. And you know, if I get a bit more mobile as well, then, you know, we can do some proper game hunting and that, you know. So that'd be nice to meet you, Dave. But I really think you should try and get the day off and come to the event, mate. So I really am sort of trying to fly the flag for the Bristol, the Bristol retro gaming market. I'm nothing to do with them. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish and love, you know, free tickets or something like that. But no, we're gonna be getting mine, Old Schools, and Marcus's ticket. Probably later on this evening. Actually, I'll order them later. But anyone who's not aware that we've got a Bristol retro gaming event coming on June the 24th, I believe, Sunday, June the 24th. It is basically at Temple Meads train station. There's a little sort of off Shed Park thing, I think, where they hold sort of events. So that's where I'm not 100% sure, but that's where I believe it is. It's the first ever, as far as I'm aware, the first ever retro gaming event that we've had in Bristol. We have a couple of retro gaming shops. I wouldn't really say many of them are that good. There's one in the Kingswood area that shut quite a lot of the times. I think you got to ring the guy and he'll open it up. There was one in Filton which I believe is shut now. You know, Let's Talk Retro lads have come into the Bristol event. They actually done a Bristol sort of tour, and I sort of told them a few shops to visit because they've done a few, but they I think them boys have got some money because they like to shop in Pink Planet, or what was Pink Planet. I think it's called Planet Games or something now. And I just won't shop in there out of principle. Their prices are so ridiculously high, in my opinion. But then, if it's like I was saying to someone earlier, if you don't use these shops, then they won't be here. So, and that's what I'm saying about the Bristol event. If someone's being decent enough to put an event on for us, we complain about there's nothing in Bristol to go to, then we need to you know, go to the event, because if no one turns up, then you can be sure that they won't be doing another one. So hopefully the elusive 2UK, me mucker nowadays, and you know, hopefully you'll be able to make it down, because I know it's a bit of a way for you, Stu. But hopefully you'll make it. It'd be really nice to have you there, mate. Like I say, Daz and everyone, and hopefully everyone will be able to come down. It is sort of, you know, everyone's usually at your end in your sport for choice up there, but it'd be nice the first event we get if everyone can come together and go to this one. I know that Leeds is on the day before, but Leeds has been on loads on it. Surely, you know, you're going to get new stock and that, but Bristol's never been on, lads. You know, there's going to be untapped wares there. You know, if you don't turn up, it's great, because I'll have more for myself. But I'd rather have your company, and we can all split the games, eh? So yeah, hopefully everyone will turn up. Like I say, first year out of the way. I hope it hasn't been too bad for you. I went back and watched me first video actually. The first video, the idea was actually was sort of inspired by Retro Dave Nintendo. And when he used to show his games off, and he used to show them, and he had a strip light in his games room wherever he was doing, and he used to catch the light with doing the when he showed the games in the box, so the light would catch the box, and everyone used to call it the box porn video. So me being me and having my sort of silly sense of humour is like, I'll show you a box porn video, and that was what I made. Is made the box porn video with Street Fighter 2 going around on the rotating disc to Barry White, which I thought it makes me laugh. It still makes me laugh today. I've got a couple of the box porn vids with sort of sexy tunes and all that, and to watch them. I mean, that one was okay. It was me with shaky hand cam, and so I was trying to stay still, trying to film it all, and then trying to play the music, cue the music, start everything up, and doing it all on my own. And to be honest, it came out all right. Watching some of the other videos are a bit cringe-worthy, but yeah, if you want, go through. We could certainly do with the views on some of the original stuff. Go through the channel. There's loads of sort of stuff. There's I've even done like retro items, like Top Trump cards, Top Trump cards that are older than myself, not a 1977 original superheroes pack, which was before Top Trumps. I believe Top Trumps came after that. Records. I've bought video game records. Mainly pickups videos. Mainly done pickups videos. A few gameplays and that. But there's loads of stuff, and you can sort of. I don't know if I progressed, that much since starting. We've got a tripod, and we've progressed on shaky hand cam, and but I promise you, if you stick with me, the channel will be getting better. We should be learning some editing skills, because they're at the moment they're few and far between. But I've got a lot of ideas, a lot of cool ideas, and it's just being able to put the ideas from my head onto a computer and making them happen, And I've got some really, hopefully, some really cool stuff coming up that I'm going to show you, and do and make and do little series and things. So, like I say, we're 1 year old. Cheers for sticking with us, each and every subscriber. Thank you very, very much. It's quite mad that people want to listen to me spout off and waffle on, but stick with it. And we're this is towards the next year, so like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.